All right, well, hello everyone, bonjour tout le monde, and welcome to the Applied Artificial Intelligence Institute Fall Reception. Thanks for joining co-directors Tristan Glattard and Fenwick McKelvey and the entire AI Institute team for this event. Just to quickly situate you, we are streaming to YouTube Live from Concordia University's fourth space, which is located on unceded Indigenous lands in Tiohtià:ke, Montreal. At Fourth Space, we collaborate with our entire university community in order to activate the various projects in development and initiatives in development across the university by creating daily events such as this one. So it's really been a pleasure to welcome all AI Institute members in here today. To get us started, it's my pleasure to pass the floor to Vice President of Research and Graduate Studies, Dominique Bérubé. Welcome, Dominique.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Anna, for the nice introduction. It's really my privilege to join this afternoon. It's obviously a great opportunity for me to meet researchers that I haven't had the opportunity yet to meet in Concordia, considering, of course, my recent arrival, still, I can say that, 2.5 months in Concordia, and seeing again some faces that I've already had the opportunity to meet. So really looking forward to meet with you and listen to the discussion of the members of this flagship project in Concordia. The Institute objectives are directly aligned to Concordia's commitment to support, promote very impactful research and to offering an innovative environment that is inclusive, thoughtful, to the benefit of the society in general and the next generations. The Institute, of course, is based on the principle of collaboration. You're all here, partnerships, innovation. It's great to see you all. So lots of you today taking that time, meaningful time. We know how valued is time nowadays. So really thank you for joining. I think the discussion you're going to have are quite important. The Institute must find its place in a very complex ecosystem. You know it probably even better than me. Very important investment, obviously, in AI. Lots of players. Do we need to say it? Definitely a lot of buzz around the sector, sometimes a bit too much around AI. We definitely can describe this area of research as being obscure anymore. It's been an ebullition in the past year, making very important progress in general, especially in the fundamentals, but still facing some critical challenges, whether we think about trust deficit, limited knowledge in general in the population, data scarcity to even do AI. You can think also about the biases that have emerged in everything related to AI. Data privacy and security, obviously. Even the fact that us human beings sometimes remain even better than AI to do some simple tasks in everyday. So the question, of course, is how to make a difference and position the Applied AI Institute. And of course, I think Concordia made the exact right choice by choosing Applied AI as the name of the Institute. Training is going to be critical across all spheres of society, not only to ensure that we have the capacity to implement AI, but for critical thinking, ethical approach about its implementation, understanding what it is, what it does, and what it should not do also, I think is important. And how we will do it, and I guess I should say how you will do it. I think interdisciplinarity is definitely something that we always repeat, but obviously you just can see by everywhere where you come from yourself, from all the faculties and everything, that's the key. Listening to our partners also. I think we need to develop the general capacity to listen to the needs of the partner and to put forward an approach that will facilitate the brokering of the fundamentals of AI into real-life application. And of course, we need to support our diverse students in the university and offer them the opportunity to play that critical role of brokering the science. So I really look forward to listen to the discussion. You can obviously count on Concordia's support. And thank you again, Tristan Fenwick, for the invitation to join this afternoon.
So I think it's up to me to get started. think it's up to me to get started. This is new, also being mic'd up. So allow me to just say, first off, on behalf of Tristan and I, thank you so much for being here today. It's really an amazing experience to talk about an institute and to be able to bring everyone together and see you all in our individual interactions and actually have everyone in one room, and so to see the community that is the Applied AI Institute. It's also like a striking reminder because when we launched the Institute was during the tail end of the Omicron variant. And so like, knock on wood, very much so. It's very thankful to be able to kind of welcome and say and be appreciative of the community that's kind of enabled this Institute. So on behalf of Tristan and I, thank you for coming today and allowing us to introduce you a bit more to the Applied AI Institute, to host you, and to tell you, frankly, what we've been up to for the past little while at the Institute. So we launched in February of 2022, and we've been trying to keep busy, and we thought that this would be a good time to share the opportunities and work that's being done at the Institute. Can I have the next slide? Yeah. So I think one of the first starts that we've been able to do since launching the Institute is talk through what is the Institute going to do, and as Dominique mentioned, like how do we fit in to the AI ecosystem in Montreal? And one of the parts in the document that both Tristan and I have kind of put together is our guiding principles for the Applied AI Institute. And I want to share and showcase this as something that is part of how we hope to move forward in just finding our place in that ecosystem and how we might differ and distinguish ourselves from other applied AI institutes or applied institutes, be they applying themselves or not. The part of this is, I think, also comes up when we talk in our opening acknowledgements about being on, on an unceded territorial lands at Tiohtià:ke. These questions of what does it mean to be an applied AI institute at Concordia, dealing with these questions of truth and reconciliation, and what does that mean for a mandate? And we know that Concordia is a leader in Indigenous AI, as many of you know, the tremendous work of Jason Lewis, Indigenous Futures at the Milieu Institute. This is stuff that we acknowledge Concordia is a leader at, and this is part of how we also see our institute itself defining our work, trying to connect to matters of ethical AI, foregrounding justice and equity in our work, and also trying to acknowledge the need for interdisciplinary solutions to the many challenges that are facing AI adoption. And so one of the parts just to share and showcase is what does the Applied AI Institute mean, and what are some of the values that are hopefully guiding and will be guiding our decision making in the future. The second part, the second big accomplishment, probably one of the biggest accomplishments of my career, is talking about the team at our institute. And so, next slide. I wanted to also say that this was absolutely impossible without, first credit goes to Lindsay, who organized and made this possible. Lindsay is our knowledge mobilization coordinator, and Lindsay joins our team along with Alex McGallis, who's the business development coordinator, and Nick Girdler, who is our I don't feel like admin assistant isn't the right word, but Nick is an integral part of actually our getting stuff done department, which has 5 members, I'm hoping. And it's really, this is, I think, a tremendous part of what defines our institute is the past 6 months, we've really been able to build a very exciting team. And so it's very encouraging to know that these are the people that you'll be working with that are helping make and define what the Applied AI Institute is and what does it mean to be a member of that institute. And so it's really part of this reception is also to welcome these 3 people to our team and to the Concordia community. So I'm so happy to have them here today and literally for them making this event possible. And with that, I'll pass it to Tristan for the next few remarks.
Oui, donc bonjour à tous. Une des choses qu'on a essayé de faire depuis que l'Institut a été lancé, c'est de créer de supporter la recherche de la façon la plus efficace possible. And so for that, we launched a funding opportunity a couple of weeks ago. The goal of this funding opportunity is to develop, assess, and audit AI. We think that there is a lot to be said about how AI systems should be or can be audited. So that's an interdisciplinary funding. We welcome proposals coming from all our members from the 4 Concordia faculties, and we allocated a budget of $60,000 for that. And so if you're thinking, if your research touches upon auditing AI, can be from a business perspective, from more of a social science perspective, or from a technical perspective, feel free to submit. The deadline is December 16th, and it's just a 1-pager. So hopefully it's not too much work. And for possibly interesting projects, we think that seed funding is a way to foster such projects, and we hope that researchers will be interested and apply to this opportunity.
So the Institute itself is defined around 3 clusters. And our goal for today and for the series of next 3 events that are taking place is to begin to enliven those 3 clusters. We have AI in society, AI in emerging technology, and AI in science. And each one of these will be, my hope for faculty here, your kind of link to the Applied AI Institute. It's important to think that our first clusters are preliminary clusters. They're our guess at what will animate and motivate members of the university to want to participate in and how to coordinate these topics of discussion and debate around applied AI. What we want to encourage today is for those members of the community interested, we are looking for leaders in each of these clusters. We hope to have 1 cluster leader per cluster, obviously. And the idea with that is that we would like these clusters to be starting to animate and working more autonomously. As we talk about distributed research as one of our guiding principles, we really see these clusters as an important way that distributed research and distributed leadership can take place. The cluster leaders will receive a $5,000 allocation, and we have forms throughout the room. If you feel like nominating or encouraging someone to nominate themselves, this is really a chance for us to then start spreading participation, and this is one of our ways of connecting with the different faculty. Members of the members of the research clusters, cluster leaders, will be part of our leadership team at the Applied AI Institute and will be helping us make decisions. So this is one of our first steps into kind of spreading it out and moving from our kind of core C team into the wider Concordia community. Next slide.
Oui, une autre chose qu'on a commencé à faire depuis que l'Institut a été fondé, c'est de développer un partenariat avec Concordia Continuing Education, who's represented here. And so we've been involved in several projects led by CCE, or Concordia Lifelong Learning. And through one of these projects, which is funded by the Paul Montréalais d'Enseignement Supérieur en Intelligence Artificielle, we are offering internships for college students from Dawson College in the context of experiential learning. So for these students to take internships within labs at the Institute. And so again, that's, we have an open call for if you have a research lab and if you want to support internships, provide internships to college students, feel free to submit your topics. Again, it's a very lightweight application process. And just in case you may wonder, okay, how can it benefit my lab? I think sometimes, in particular for graduate students, that kind of mentorship is a great way to extend their CV, their mentorship CVs. It can make a difference to FRQ, to NSERC, and other funding applications. So don't hesitate to encourage you and your students to provide internship offers. We aim at having like a core supervision between a faculty member and a graduate student.
And this is just the beginning of our offerings that will be taking place. And this fall, we're beginning to arrange and develop a winter event series, which will continue this conversation, help coordinate discussions around artificial intelligence at Concordia University and with the wider community. You know, our beginning, these are our themes that we're hoping to address in the next little bit, is talking through different aspects of how facets of AI are impacting different parts of the world. I think partially this kind of mix, which you can see here, is trying to say that AI is not just simply a technical or industrial problem, but impacts all different parts of society. If you're like me, you've been living through what is the launch of Stable Diffusion, which is the text-to-image generation tool, which is been quite transformative, particularly in discussions about the consequences of AI. And so, for example, this debate about how does Stable Diffusion work, how's it been trained, where are the data and the images coming from, what are the consequences for artists? We're hoping to have a first talk about the intersection between AI and art. Second, you know, this is one of the things that, as a leadership team composed of 2 white guys, we're also very concerned about these questions of intersections of AI and gender and the ways that we can diversify and build more diversity within the AI development and I think into the community in general. And so we're also then beginning with Lindsay to work on a series about AI and gender, particularly some of the questions about concerns about participation and the barriers to participation in artificial intelligence research. Third, we're hoping to do a series around artificial intelligence humor. This is a good example of, I think, trying to work at an interdisciplinary, because humor is something which, I mean, AI can be quite funny, if anybody's watched any of the kind of gaffes of AI. But also AI requires and really draws on complicated language models, that this idea of humor then raises interesting technical questions of how do language models be funny and behave funny. And so that kind of intersection between the social sciences and the technical worlds around humor is kind of one of these boundary objects or ways of trying to explore and encourage conversations across the different disciplines at Concordia University. And then finally, we're in the midst of a very good number of AI reforms and a push towards AI regulation. This is something that we're dealing with presently in Canada with the ADA bill, the Artificial Intelligence and Data Act. And we're hoping to have a final event all around AI and ethics. This is also something that's kind of key on my mind as I'm able to contribute with the Confiance AI project, which is trying to build in standards, industrial standards around ethical AI, as well as other kind of benchmarks for quality and confident AI deployments. And so this is something I encourage you to follow in the new year, things to look out for. And also just to say, if there's events or ideas that we can help convene topics around AI that are of wider interest to the university, please let us know. That's one of the things that we're hoping to do, is that this event series becomes something of a way of the many different stakeholders, many different people involved in AI can be a chance to convene and come together. And so this is our winter series that we're looking forward to launching soon.
So industry partners are obviously a strong goal. Developing partnerships with industry is a strong goal for the Institute, and I would like to start by thanking Ericsson Gaia for being our first official partner and for their long-standing support to the Institute. We are also going to extend and expand our industrial partners beyond. We are in the process of securing a fairly large budget for that purpose. So the call here is, if you have industry partnerships cooking in your labs, if you're interested to develop that, then feel free to reach out. We'll be able to support for that. And one of the things I wanted to emphasize is that this will be also open to the 4 faculties. So we've been talking with fine arts about potential connections with various, the film industries and other types of industries, but also at JMSB and of course at GCS and Arts and Science. That's going to be an open call. So if you have any industry collaborations and you're interested to pursue, feel free to reach out, and we'll hopefully have something to announce very soon.
And we've been really excited since the start of the Applied AI Institute to think about how we can improve access to the specializations in AI. And one of our founding partners, Ericsson, has been working with us on an AI and ML upskill program, which I think has been, as Tristan has told me, and one of the things which we're really quite proud of, has been quite successful in helping companies improve and better understand the benefits of artificial intelligence for their operations. And we're happy to announce that we're continuing this work with Ericsson through a new NovaScience grant, which is going to continue this work in developing corporate upskilling. And it's one of the parts that we see as a real interesting dimension in development for the Applied AI Institute, is how can we see the different new opportunities for education in advancing how people learn and learn about the very facets of artificial intelligence. We have a collaboration with Lifelong Learning on the AI proficiency certificate, and we also have bursaries available for students that might like to take this but cannot. One of the things that we're able to offer is a chance to participate, and that's something that I see as part of our vision for AI, is trying to democratize access to it, whether that's through making new programs that allow for companies to learn and use artificial intelligence better, or making those programs more available to students and industries in need. as well as trying to kind of widen what we think of as counts as training, including kind of ethical, as well as other kind of social implications of AI. So really, our training program, I think, is one of the things that we've been able to succeed at, and we continue to see this as a foundation to build in the future.
Okay, so in conclusion, we are very much open for collaboration. You can participate in the Institute in a number of ways, which are summarized on this slide here. But most importantly, we're also looking forward to your suggestions and ideas. So we hope we use the rest of the event for that. There are suggestion boxes available somewhere in the space. There are whiteboards where you can, write on things and suggest whatever you think could be an interesting direction for the Institute. And I've heard that wine and cheese will be served too, so in case you need a little bit of lubricant, that's coming too. So thank you all for joining. It's really impressive to see how many people showed up today, and we are looking forward to working with you. Sure, we can take questions.
Yeah, you want to?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
There is one word in Institute of Applied AI that intrigues me is applied. What does it mean, applied to you? Do you know where I'm coming from? Especially you, Fenwick, and you know where I'm trying to go with Confiance AI. So if you could explain where, for an industry member like me interested in getting academia to be part of the journey we're trying to launch, where applied fits into your own definition of it?
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's a great question. I think one of the things we both share, one of the things we both share is like what distinguishes our institute from others. And I think it's that emphasis on applied. And I think that's one of the things that attracted me, and I found it interesting. One of the things we talk about in our steering committees is what does it applied mean? I think quite directly when we're talking about applied, we're moving into this kind of way, as you're familiar with, was how AI meets the world. And what are the ways that we talk about the application of AI and the complexity of it? And that's one of the things that working with Confiance AI is trying to learn just the different facets of when you talk about a serious deployment. If you're talking about AI and deploying it, what becomes invoked? What are the necessities? Talking about sustainability, talking about ethics, talking all about responsible development. These are things that are familiar to me as someone kind of interested in AI governance, but I think that becomes a motivating factor of what we want to define partially what the Applied AI Institute is doing, is trying to, I guess, celebrate the complexity of putting AI into practice and deployment. And, with Confiance AI, that's kind of a work in project. I think, in other areas, this is where we're trying to grow and build. So when we're talking about training, we're trying to actually work, and this is when Tristan's talking about how we talk about our pedagogy, we're trying to think about specific problems, bringing in particular ways of dealing with kind of industry issues that companies are dealing with themselves. And so allowing us to find solutions and work ways with it. So we're kind of dealing with kind of applied and dealing with the problems that are invoked with that. And I think for me, one other component of this, and we were talking about applied, is that artificial intelligence has these social consequences. This is changing our city. And when we think about applied, I also think about trying to take seriously what is the application of AI and all the different consequences that come into that. And I think that is where, someone from the social sciences and humanities is really interested in trying to understand that kind of world and the worlding of AI. So, I mean, to me, applied has these kind of different facets. There's one, there is, I think, this really interesting collaboration where the challenges of applying AI and applying AI well require, I think, these interdisciplinary values that the Institute brings forward. I mean, and we're a work in progress, so, it's like, I always want to get into like the exact specifics, but that's, I think, what we see as some of the vision and direction for the Institute.
Maybe just to add to that, Mohsen, just to say too that I think applied also means an approach to research whereby we would start from the ground and the problems which are being apparent in society, and then taking them as research questions, as opposed to having things coming out of research and looking for ways to apply them to to fit to specific projects. So I really think that at Concordia we have this angle to be connected with the community, with society, with companies, including SMEs and other ones, to kind of have the research being driven by problems on the ground. Mohsen?
So I'm Mohsen, and I'm from John Molson School of Business. I'm interested to learn how you, as director of Concordia AI Institute, envision our institute with Mila. What is the relationship of us with Mila? Your vision.
Yeah, sure. I can start. So thanks. That's a great question. I think Mila has obviously been like a key player and a very big one in the Montreal and Canadian ecosystem in AI. I think the Concordia Applied AI Institute is slightly different in structure, just by the fact, for instance, that it covers all the faculties at Concordia. So that's another aspect to the applied part. Like we think applied means interdisciplinary. So we need to have social scientists around the table and artists and people from the business school, in addition to engineers and computer scientists. So yeah, I think by structure we are a little bit different, and yeah, we hope we can find our place in the ecosystem. Fen, did you want to add anything?
No, I think that's one of the things when we talk about being a kind of second generation Applied AI Institute, we are one, I think that we are Applied AI Institute. Those are things that I think will distinguish us from Mila. We obviously have good collaborations. We have faculty that are part of Mila. And I think one of the challenges that we have is how to define an institute that offers a good value to the AI ecosystem. And I think the ways that our guiding principles, I think how we execute and define those guiding principles will help distinguish us and ultimately make us productive members of the AI ecosystem here in Montreal.
And by the way, just to finish, sorry for that, but we are really keen on further developing our connections with JMSB, and we hope you can help us with that.
Okay, thank you for opportunity to ask question. I'm also from JMSB. My name is Krzysztof Dzieciolowski, and I'm part-time professor there for the last 30 years, as well as I've been working in the industry, so the applied side of AI is very close to me. But today I'm also running with my friend a startup. So my question is, how are you planning to open up the space for collaboration with not just the big companies like Ericsson, but also perhaps startups which your sisters institutes like IVEDO or Mila had undertaken? Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to say that indeed working with SMEs and startups is part of our priorities, absolutely. We are working toward like establishing a small technical team of people who can take on, projects proposed by startups or, that will be developed in partnership with startups. And through that team, we hope we could partner with SMEs and startups.
I'd also just add that one of the things when we talk about we're so proud of having a team actually means we can do this. And I think that that's one of the things that since launch, we've really been able to put in a structure in place where we're open to these types of partnerships too. And that's a way, and I think to just echo Tristan's point about small and medium enterprises, I think that there's a lot going on that we also can find a diversity of different partners we're looking for. And we're really thankful for Ericsson and some of our other key collaborators, but we're really open to companies of all sizes. And I think that's one of the parts that we're trying to think through is like, where can we fit and how might we service and be part of and collaborate and work together with different types of companies. And I think that's part of what we're learning to do.
And by the way, Alex Megelas, our business developer, is sitting right beside you. So yeah, you may want to talk to him.
Hi, Marie-Elise Lafayette-Magnan. So I had a question about You know, how we've talked, how it's a very applied, but have you thought about how you will keep some intellectual property, or how you will meet, you know, academic goals of open science? So with a lot of partnerships, sometimes you have to negotiate intellectual property. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts about that.
I don't.
Yeah, well, just to say maybe that the Applied AI Institute embraces open science. It's part of our values as researchers, and you know, we know the value of working openly and the benefit it brings to science. That being said, there's also obviously cases, you were mentioning industrial partnerships, where this has to be discussed with, you know, to protect IP. I hope we can rely on other practices that are being that are in place at Concordia to support the collaborations we may develop in that range.
Thanks so much for your questions. There'll be more opportunities to ask questions and mingle, and I just wanted to draw your attention to, well, to move on to the next stage, we have a few whiteboards. We'd love to get your opinion on some of the important themes that are coming up within each of the clusters, and also there's a box at the back where you can nominate cluster leads or leave any kind of suggestions that you might have. And following that, we're going to move into the atrium, which is just around the corner, to have some refreshments. So thanks so much for coming. And that's it for me.
And just a quick, two things I'm going to say. One, I just also wanted to say thanks to my co-director for being here. It's been a real privilege and pleasure, and that while we're happy to have impromptu questions, we're not going anywhere. So if you do have questions, just come up and talk to us. Like, happy to answer. You know, I mean, you know, we want to be open, and so yeah, please make advantage of the fact we're in the same room and ask us questions. Thank you so much.